Our next panel also deals with responsible gaming, but this time from a somewhat more practical perspective. The panel is titled aptly, I think, Responsible Gaming, Challenges and Practical Solutions. To address these issues, we have invited Malinda Miener, Chief Compliance Officer at Holland Casino, as well as Nathalie Smit, who is CEO of the Netherlands National Gambling Helpline, Loket, Kansspel, to the stage here. The discussion will be moderated again by Karel Ornstein. Malinda, Nathalie, and Karel, thank you very much, and please, the floor is yours.
Welcome. Nathalie Smit, you're the director of Loket Kansspel, as we say it in Dutch. What is it, Loket Kansspel, and tell us some about yourself.
Yes, Loket Kansspel, we are actually the Dutch national helpline for people with problem gambling and their relatives. And we are now offering 24/7 available help. So that's what we do, in short. And I am actually having experience now for over 10 years at working at Dutch helplines in this industry. I'm a psychologist and also having like over 2,000 conversations, I think, already with this group of people. Yeah.
And what are the results, in brief?
What are the results? In what way? From the beginning of
successful results, or
sorry?
Successful results you manage with Loket Kansspel.
What is successful? Like, we are now called like many times a day, so people know where we are, what we are. I think that's at the first place a very successful result. And what I can tell is that most of the people who call in are not necessarily addicted, but experiencing, moreover, loss of control in the game. So I think that's also, a good thing, because there is the prevention as well, very effective. So I think that's a good result as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Malinda Miener, you're of course Chief Compliance Officer at Holland Casino. What's a Chief Compliance Officer doing?
Well, a little bit the same as what she's doing, but as a state-owned company, we are responsible that a consumer plays with us in a safe and responsible environment. And I'm responsible that Holland Casino does these things in a good way, and we are responsible for responsible gaming, for anti-money laundering and privacy. And as we are state-owned, Floor, we can talk with you. We are state-owned, so we can have the conversation then, and you can help us.
Right, thank you. Nathalie, Loket Kansspel gets a lot of phone calls. 2,000, you said, I think, if I'm right?
At the moment, I think already over more than 2,000, yes.
Of course, there are problematic gamblers who phone you.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of people are that?
What kind of people are calling in? Mostly we are reached by men. And for 25% of the callers are like the youngest, between 18 and 25. Mm-hmm. And then the biggest group are provided by between 25 and 40. What can I say more? The most asked question at the moment is, I have banned myself and I want to talk with somebody about what I can do, tips and tricks about to regulate myself or to find my way to help. And another question, asked a lot of question is, how can I get some support, or how can I manage my financial situation now? So a lot of people experience a lot financial problems due to the gambling, and I really want to find some help in these financial problems. So that's also our most offered intervention now at the moment, is just an intervention we have ourselves, the financial support intervention with our social worker. So they will, on a practical way, actually help them to first get things decluttered in the financial way.
So you listen to them and then you tell them, please go to this institution or this organization with your problems.
Yeah, and at the same time we have our own interventions. So sometimes we have like different or several phone calls with the same person, because that is then at that point enough. And at other points, we just referral to healthcare or all kind of interventions we have now in the Netherlands.
Malinda, are you also, as Holland Casino, getting such phone calls with the same questions?
Not so much the phone calls itself that they call us, but we call them. And we have about like 20,000 calls a year for the online market, about 13,000 calls or conversations on the premises on the premises for RG, and we also refer people to the health services. We give them folders, and if we don't reach them, we also have a system in place. And we talked about that beforehand, and we think that's a good way to keep them responsible for their own gambling behavior. Is that if they play too much and we can't reach them, we restrict them from playing more than 400 euros a month. If they have then high peaks, because we have BadBuddy, artificial intelligence in place, and if they're high, we have like 72 indicators, and if these indicators indicate that you're probably a problem player, and you don't react to the calls, then we limit your playing limit to 200 euros, and are you again on these high limits, then we just ban you. And that makes the person responsible for their own behavior, and it really helps, we think.
So 3 strikes out?
No, it's not really 3 strikes out. Because every time if you limit the amount of playing, if the person plays 400 euros during the month in a right way, but then it's okay, and he won't be banned more than the 400 euros. And if he's responsible enough to higher this limit again, then you put it higher, the limit.
Right.
And if you don't reach this strike, so for example, if you play on the salary day, you play your 400 euros, then you have your strike out again for the 200. And if that's a reason to...
But you get 50,000 phone calls, am I correct?
20,000.
20,000?
Yeah.
20,000?
Yes.
You're quite busy, you have a quite busy job.
Oh, we have. About my people. And they're really wonderful.
Yeah. Nathalie, do you think that the operators get to strengthen their prevention policy? Or are you a happy person?
Well, I think it's policy wisely all right now because it's so highly regulated. But what I really would like to see is that there's going to be more unity in all the operators. So we don't have to put it like more strengthened, but more like this in the same way. So it's going to be more consequent. So if a player got blocked by one operator because they are doing their prevention work very well, you won't have this same player at another operator having not this prevention policies.
Do you have a lot of black sheeps?
If I have black sheep?
No, are there a lot of black sheeps in between the operators? Because you say some do it very well, the other ones less.
Oh, that's a very tricky question to answer at this moment. But
maybe Malinda can help you.
Well, the only thing I can say is what I hear from the people who call in. And of course, there are operators that are not that great on their prevention policies in a practical way, and others are better in it. So you won't hear a lot of that operators. Yeah. So there's still a lot of difference. Hence why I came in with the idea to get in some more unity, because if it's not there, it's still very dangerous actually at the end. Yeah.
Do you think mandatory deposits or time limits will help in this?
Yeah. Yeah. But of course, not only those. It has to be in like a whole policy with other prevention measures as well. So always keep in dialogue with your players and always help them to make these difficult decisions if they can't.
Do you agree on that?
Well, limits is not the only answer, or won't be the answer to all these problems. And if you have to work with limits, then work with loss limits, because where the problems come from is with the losses, and they don't have money. But what she's telling also is if they hop from one operator to another operator, then we have a problem. So we, at least we have to have evidence-based measures all in place. And what maybe would be a good idea is like the insurance companies, what they have is like a platform, and this platform gives a way that somebody has maybe a problem, is not already excluded, but has a problem, or maybe is having issues. And then this person, then you know that you have to have a conversation with this person. Because even with, I don't know, even with 100 euros loss limit, you can have a problem if you go to 24 of the operators. So you should have another problem in place. So you have to know that the person has a problem, is a problem speler. Because as Björn mentioned before, there are a lot of players just playing for fun, not having any problems. So you have to deduct the persons with artificial intelligence, with the right measures to prevent them from getting addicted.
Is it possible to make such a platform in practice?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So why don't we do it?
Because it's new, and we have to. And I think what I would just suggest for next time we come together, that we don't have all these meetings and panels, but that we have a hackathon with the governance, with KSA, with Jelinek, with all the providers, and come with solutions like this. And at least this solution, it does already exist. And we are at this same time, I'm really talking to this person, I know, but there's not only this person, there's other companies doing the same thing. Let's provide something like this.
Is Holland Casino are going to take the initiative, or
yes,
you leave?
we're already talking to him. Yeah,
great.
And I've talked to the KSA as well. I'm going to send this mail to the KSA as well. Why don't we do something like this? Yeah.
What do you think, this cooperation?
The cooperation between like all parties in the industry.
Like the suggestion of Malinda.
Yeah, I can really applaud it, of course, because the more cooperation between all the parties, the better, actually.
So you're in?
Let's focus on the complete pie instead of just your own piece.
Well, we ask René Jansen and the ministry later on if they're also so enthusiastic. I hope so for you. Are there any other rules and regulations that got to be introduced? New, extra rules, Nathalie?
I only can say what happens with the players I talk to on the phone or in chat, but I'm not necessarily at this moment focused on the rules or policies. I really think it's better to leave that in the industry or at the government, for example.
Briefly, new instruments, for example, you have Gamban.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think of this app? Please explain us what Gamban does exactly.
What Gamban does is actually it's just blocking software, right? So you can install it on your device, and then it's going to block you from all the providers, as well the illegal providers. So I think it's a good to do both, like the register we have, like the Crux register and the Gamban. So. And please ask somebody else to install it for you and do the password, so you don't know your own.
So you can't change it yourself and start playing all over again.
Yes.
So you say it's a good additional next to Crux, of course.
Yes.
It's a good additional tool.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think it's a good tool too, but it's only in English right now. I know that Kindred has it in place and plays also for addicted people and offers it to use it. We talked about it even yesterday about this tooling, and maybe we can translate it and have a Dutch page instead and coordinate this action together with the rest. For Holland, that we have this. Maybe we can also talk to the KSA about this, because Gamban should be offered to players to at least use it. And what's the plus about this app is also that it's not only for the legal providers, but also for illegal. So if somebody blocks him or herself, then it's also blocked for every.
And that's even more important.
Yeah. Yeah.
You talked to whom about this? You
Oh.
said yesterday we discussed
yesterday.
it.
Yeah, we discussed it internally. with us.
Internally?
Yeah. And we want to see if it's possible to have it as a ruling to offer it to our customers who have a problem. And what is evidence-based working is the after-care conversation after somebody is expelled from and in Crux, or even expelled from our premises, that we have a conversation afterwards. In Crux, it's not possible. We talked about the KSA about this, and that's not possible. But this is really working because 2/3 of the people we talk to, and they had a ban before, 2/3 they get banned again, if we know it.
So discussion is very important
conversation,
afterwards.
yeah, and especially while we talked about it too, even if it's too late, then the person and comes for help, that's most of the time the person is really asking for help and wants to be helped and can be helped. If the person doesn't acknowledge he or she has a problem, it's the same with drugs or alcohol, you go on and you go on. Yeah.
Yes. Is there a role for Loket Kansspel in this? Because I think you're enthusiastic about the idea about talking afterwards, talking if you want to after leaving Crux.
Yeah, well, I think at the website now at the moment, the Loket Kansspel's really existence. Like we are already there, so people know to reach us. Actually, most of the people who call in at the moment are banned and want to talk. So I think there's already a good development going on. And also I applaud the idea to focus, actually, it's very weird to say, but this time focus on the negative, indeed. So when somebody is already like very sad because all of the losses, this is exactly the right moment to talk to somebody about it, because people are very willing to change their behavior at that moment, instead of when they are actually, want to get in the casino, and talk about deposit limits. It's better to focus on at loss limits. So I really agree with that.
And what amount are you thinking of talking about loss limits?
It's such a hard question to ask because it's very difficult to look in someone's wallet. We say it in Dutch. I don't know if it's an international.
We understand it.
But I don't know. Maybe
Malinda, maybe you.
If I have
help her.
maybe
same problem.
We should focus on the different age groups. So the youngest had to be protected more and have more like different maybe deposit limits or loss limits than the older groups. I don't know if that's already going on or stricter regulations on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to another subject. Player protection we're talking about, of course. But there are a lot of rules and regulations in the Netherlands, and they're coming more and more and more. Is it still possible to compete as an operator, or is it getting harder and harder and harder?
It's getting harder, but we shouldn't compete on the duty of care issue. So for the rest, compete as you wish, but not targeting on vulnerable people. And then I think there is a competitive market, yes, I'm sure.
What makes the competition harder?
It makes it harder if we talking about like a limit overall. Then we have. I went to Sweden and to Finland, and they're very strictly organized. Yep. Like Sweden, you ban so much. The regulation is so strict that that people, they go out and they go to another shop, and there you have this. Yeah, cowboy kind of tables already like yellow, and they can play there. Yeah. And they're very strictly on the casinos themselves, but the rest, it's like everything is open. And I know our case is really on the illegal part, but if you get too strict, people find a way to go somewhere else. So then it's and competition and illegal. It's not doable. So there has to be a balance between competitiveness and the duty of care. And I think everyone, Björn was saying it too, everybody doesn't want to earn money on problematic players.
But do we have a good balance in the Netherlands?
Not yet. No,
That has to be changed.
Especially we have to wait for the evaluation of the legislation, the COA.
Oh, but you know it.
Sorry?
You know it already. You don't have to wait for the evaluation.
Oh, yeah, but yeah.
What do you think?
Well, what we think is we have, Björn was saying it to a level playing field, that we all have the same kind of regulation. Like, for example, what we do is if a youngster, you were talking about the young adults, after he or she has spent like 200, 250 euros, then we send up a pop-up and say, you've already played 250 euros. Well, if we can agree on that, like everybody does that, then everybody has the same amount. That if a person doesn't have any problems and you have the same regulation or the same way of finding if somebody is a problem player, then you can go on and you can even loosen the regulation. So on one side you have to be stricter, on the other side you can loosen up if you're sure the person is not a problem player. Because we have also VIP guests playing very much.
Right. What's that very much? Tell us.
No, but even then, there are players playing with us, but they earn like millions and they play 20,000 euros or whatever, but that's not a problem for that person. He sees it as a night out or something like having fun, like going to the Efteling.
So you say, look at the individual.
Yes.
Or go to the Efteling.
Yeah, no, but it's true.
Yeah, I understand.
It is true.
I
you
understand.
have to look at the individual in that sense, yeah.
Do you also think, just look at the individual or the individual groups? Mm-hmm. Is that the best way? The most effective way?
To keep them safe?
Yes?
Yeah, I think, at least individual and then in individual groups, yeah.
Do you think that we here in the Netherlands go too far sometimes? There's an incident, then there is a new rule or a new regulation or a ban, or what do you think, Nathalie?
Yeah, we just came out from a period with a lot of changes and, we just got regulated. So I think that's quite normal for the period we are in now. And I do think that we are now heading a new period with some more rest. Or I applaud the idea that it's going to be, let's stick to what we have now and let's see how it will develop and do some research to what we have now and then make conclusions. And of course, if it's going to be very harmful, of course, then we have to adjust. But I really applaud the idea to stick to what we have now because it's already highly regulated. So I think otherwise it's so imbalanced and at the end the player itself doesn't know what to do also. So I think it's better like this.
But isn't it strange because we don't have hard data on it? Politics decide. What do you think of that?
Yeah, so that's what I'm actually very curious to, the hard data to this. And the only way to get it is to wait over time and to see what happens in the industry.
Do you agree that it's strange or curious, or that we don't have any data, but we have a lot of decisions made by the parliament, a lot of new rules?
I don't think it is that we don't have any data. Data is collected. Björn was talking. He also has a position, also working only with data. We as well work only with data. Jeroen has sort of same position as Björn, and also working with data all the time. Even in the beginning, we didn't have enough data, and so it was trying to learn on the job itself. And now, like after a year, we have learned a lot. We have data, and then so I told you about this restriction about 400 and 200 euros. That's after after we collected a lot of data. And so what we should do is have a lot of data anonymized, of course, but then use these data to really prove what is working, what is not working. So in that sense, we're also working with universities to get evidence-based measures and know what is really working and what is not working in a stepped care model.
Right. Well, thank you very, very much. Probably you have one other idea we didn't discuss yet.
The hackathon?
Right. We'll start on it.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah. You take the initiative. We hear next year from you the results. Thank you very much for your
you too.
cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, we moeten erop blijven zitten.
Thank you. Carol, thank you very much. In the meantime, we had a lot of questions through Slido, and we would like to take the opportunity to ask to you here on stage. If we can have the first one, please. Nathalie, what are your thoughts on public awareness campaigns? I think you maybe touched in the last few minutes to encourage responsible gaming or to discourage immoderate gambling.
What are my thoughts about public awareness campaigns? Well, yeah, of course, I really applaud that idea that there should be more awareness about the risks of gambling, but also maybe more awareness how to play more in a healthy way.
Anything to add, Malinda? No? Good. Let's go to the next question. If we can have the next question, please. Malinda, do you think that Holland Casinos is setting an example when it comes to responsible gaming? And do you have any advice to share?
At least we want to be the best girl in class, and we're trying to do that every day again. But as we said, I think for our premises, our venues, we have learned a lot. For 45 years of learning, you really know what you're doing. But for online, we were learning as well a lot. And but we always want to be the best girl in class and want to set an example. And for example, we didn't go in when the football matches were. We didn't do any outdoor billings and promotions and things like that. So in that sense, yes. Be always, that's what René also told us before, try to be, think ahead, and what will really help to prevent the people from getting a problem player.
Great. Malinda, Nathalie, Karel, thank you very much. We are breaking for lunch now. We see you back here at 1:10. At 1:10, please. Thank you.